every nation needs a national broadcaster. And the purpose for creation of these national broadcasters is basically to disseminate such information that might not necessarily be carryable for profit by private players. I'll give you an example, a case in point. It's been time overdue since UBC was carrying this Parliament live. And I don't remember since when we had started to pay UBC, and the figures can be brought forward. I don't know how many broadcasters can go into such a venture. But the rationale is very simple, is to support the legislative agenda by transmitting information from both committees and plenary to the most remote viewer, connectivity and access to information. So it might not necessarily look profitable, but in the long run, the easy access to information that we debate here is not quantifiable. Assuming every legislator would carry his or her own program to transmit what they submitted, whether in committees or here, you would find it highly costly. Secondly, there are very many programs that are not profitable in the short run. But in the long run, for example, educational programs about agriculture. I can tell you there is no single sponsor that is ready for that. But that's where the national carrier must come in and buffer. I'll give you more examples. Issues of education. You can see private broadcasters cannot carry programs to do with education because the appetite for sponsors to sponsor issues of education is much less than Rugambo, rumor mongering, or musical programs, etc. Now, UBC, the difference is that it is having many stations in order to perform this. And for many languages, for connectivity, which I would not find profitable if I'm a private player, for example, to have Butebo FM, to transmit in ATESO and ETC. But UBC, under its mandate, under its act, we hold the duty of care to transfer information in languages understandable by people all over this country. Therefore, you might find it not profitable in the short run in form of money, but in the long run in form of awareness, it is quantifiable. Finally, I would like to agree with my colleagues with the digital transformation. It is true. All national broadcasters, I was looking at KBC, they have pumped money, are struggling. And the reason is very simple. There is no one that can run such a payroll. But let's come back to reality. When you are in this house, assuming one of your voters comes here and tells you it's me going to be laid off, you'll see everyone standing up in arms. Why? UBC is the only guarantor of employing, we can say, a bit redundant people. But, no, it's true. What I'm telling you is the reality. From a private point of view, there is no reason as to why you would have that number of workers. But because it's a national broadcaster, therefore national interests first, you would employ people to have Ruchiga, Runyankole, Rutoro, Ateso, every language, Swahili, so that information goes out. But a private player would say, come here if you qualify and have about 4 languages. And before you know, that is the reality that we must face. Now, finally, Right Honorable Speaker, do we want to come here as a parliament that passed a motion to adopt the resolutions of parliament in supply in the supplementary budget and say now we are overruling what we said? It's only natural justice that if there are arrears that were supposed to be paid and we pass them through a supplementary of, let's say, 24 billion, it's our obligation, the obligation of the Ministry of Finance to honor the resolution of Parliament because we supplied that. As regards coming forward, the justification must come from the committee. Like you said, how do we make it much better, profitable? UBC, how do we make you more profitable? How many rights should you reserve as a national broadcaster? It is so that we give you some level of protection Reason being, there are some programs we know you carry that are not necessarily profitable, but desirable to the nation. Therefore, I would like to stand and support the matter. Because I know what it takes. UBC is a training ground for young journalists, and you know it. It will take in as many interns as you do not know. It will train them, it will produce them to national level for even other carriers to take on. Well, however, I would like UBC to adopt a plan that is used like other national broadcasters, being the innovation center to host all of them. Because if I have Radio Toro, for example, if it were mine and it's an FM, instead of creating offices in Kampala, I would create studios at UBC. It carries me through its signal, and I pay them what we call loyalties for carrying me. That's what other broadcasters have adopted. That if you have the leverage of getting national funds, how do you also carry the private players so that you help them grow? Should everyone start up an office or a broadcasting studio in the city? How do we help them so that it's quid pro quo? You take taxpayers' money, but you also have a buffer. Finally, the collection of Signet, the funds, the Signet fund. With the arrival of other players like, let's say, Star Times, you can imagine how much money Star Times collects. If that leverage was given to UBC through NTR, UBC would not be here. Because every single person, and you can talk about the figures they have, assuming they have about 3 million people, and they collect about minimum, on average every month, $1 from every person. That is $3 million from every user, That's $3 million. And in a year, that's 3 million times 12 is about 36, probably. That's a lot of money. If you gave that leverage, like other countries protected their national carriers, to be the ones to provide the single source of outlet of content, it would definitely be profitable. But now as a carrier, it is not independent. I mean, it's not the single player, it's not protected. And also, if it was to collect from individual radios and TVs, the Signet fees, it is better you go to Star Times that takes you nearly freely than go to UBC. But UBC has the sole aim to deliver the desires and aspirations of Ugandans, no matter what. Even if it's not profitable, we should make sure we only leverage by reducing the wage bill and improving the products. But for the areas that are there, it must pay, and it's what we appropriated through the supplementary budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's a wonderful